So at the beginning of this last month, I went on a bit of a first-person shooter binge. And in honour of that, I'm actually going to present all of this next section in the first person. So I have been playing Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal. And I love Doom and Doom Eternal very, very much. That's up there with the most stupid jokes I've ever done.
I think it's worth it. It was a hit.
Good. So a few weeks back, we got our first look at the forthcoming Doom game, Doom: The Dark Ages, which is Bethesda's latest instalment in the modern Doom series, following on from 2016's Doom, 2020's Doom Eternal. And I'd played a fair chunk of Doom when the pretty miraculous Switch port was released, and it was brilliant. And I played the first hour or so of Doom Eternal, which was such a huge sensory overload that I didn't last much longer than that. But I really got the taste for giving them both another whirl after seeing the trailer for Doom: The Dark Ages. So I got them both installed on the deck and firstly played through Doom over the course of a few nights, and it was so fun and so streamlined. It runs like an absolute dream on the deck. It looks amazing. It does a great job of modernising the original Doom formula, keeping true to its roots, but also making it just super, super slick and entertaining for a modern audience. You've still got the familiar Mars and Hell settings. You've got familiar guns to dismember familiar enemies. There's key cards to find to unlock doors, and there's stupid story tying it all together. But Bethesda have just added so many other cool mechanics in the game, just really streamlined the gameplay, nailed a gameplay loop, and brought Doom not quite kicking and screaming, but ripping and tearing into the modern gaming area. That gameplay loop I alluded to is kind of what made the game like really addictive for me, because it punctuates the insanely brutal, violent action with great exploration, platforming, scouring for secrets, with these like mini arena fights, essentially. Like you'll creep around some corridors, find some upgrades, a key card maybe, head out into a slightly more expansive area and have to fight off hordes of enemies in a breathless action set piece before you'll have the area cleared, and then you're free to move on. And it's an element that actually I really loved in the Dark Souls games, which is like I knew if enemies were alive or dead, so there weren't too many surprises, because I don't really like going back to areas and finding enemies just respawned. I always feel that that's quite lazy design. And I enjoy the satisfaction of clearing a whole level of enemies in Doom and then being able to return to areas to look for secrets without any threat. And it means that I can lose myself in the action when it's happening, which is great. Like, the guns all feel fantastic. And the most amazing mechanic introduced in this game is the glory kill mechanic, where if an enemy is stunned, you click the right stick in to unleash just an horrific, gory execution, which usually involves ripping a body part off an enemy with your bare hand and inserting it into or through another body part. And the clever thing is that Bethesda have made it an essential part of the action gameplay, not just a silly over-the-top gimmick, because enemies will always drop health if you kill them with a glory kill. So it's a way of managing your health in amongst the battle without having to step out to go and find a health pickup. And they've got another mechanic to account for managing your ammo too, which is the chainsaw, which will, of course, just rip through limbs and bodies of your enemies if you've got enough fuel to do so. And killing an enemy with the chainsaw will then see them spew a fountain of ammo drops. It's such a simple thing, really, but it means that the action in the game is just ridiculously fun, satisfying, relentlessly gory, and just entirely breathless. It's incredible. And because I had such an amazing time playing through Doom, I immediately went straight into Doom Eternal.
Naturally. The Jonathan Dunn way.
Of course. What I will say is that Doom Eternal is the best looking and performing game I've seen on the Steam Deck to date. It's phenomenal. You can whack the settings right up to maximum across the board, and the deck can handle it at a pretty constant 60 frames per second. Yeah. And that becomes a certain 60 frames per second if you whack on resolution scaling, which I did. And it consistently wowed me just with how incredible it looked and performed, even when there were just a billion things going on at once. It honestly didn't feel real. Like, I guess the game engine has just been optimized within an inch of its life. It's stupid. I remember when I first gave Doom Eternal a whirl, and I honestly felt exhausted after my first play session, which I thought was about 3 or 4 hours, but it turns out I'd only been playing it for about 25 minutes. And it was frankly too much for me. Not quite, my hands and lips didn't turn blue as some people's did when they first played Doom in, I guess, the 80s and 90s. Do you remember that?
Blue lips?
Yeah, like it was a thing that happened. Do you remember, obviously not going in the episode, Ali Walla at school?
Yes, yeah, I was trying to think where I recognise this kind of reference to.
When he told us about that, we obviously ridiculed him. But then I remember seeing like a news story years later being like, oh, if I see him one day, I shall apologise.
Sorry, Alistair.
Sorry, Alistair. Doom did turn your lips blue. Send my love to your children. But like coming at Doom Eternal now, having weaned myself, I guess, onto that style and pacing from playing through Doom, meant that I was very ready just to amp my experience up several notches. And fuck me, Doom Eternal expands and improves on every single element of Doom. It introduces a multitude of amazing new things and has honestly delivered what is to me one of my all-time favourite first-person shooter experiences.
Wow.
You've got all new movement mechanics in Doom Eternal that now see you being able to jump and boost and swing and climb, meaning traversal is every bit as important to your experience as how you're handling your weaponry, of which there are some brilliant new additions too. You now have a flamethrower, which, similar to the chainsaw and glory kill mechanics, makes enemies release armor pickups if you're running low on armor. So you've got another stupidly brutal element at play in the heap of battle to keep you going. Shit, I'm shot. Glory kill. Oh, I'm firing blanks. Chainsaw! And then, oh god, there's like a rocket incoming. Flamethrower. It's just, it's so dumb. And it's so stupidly fun. Like, genius combination of mechanics. The exploration side of things in Doom Eternal is vastly improved as well, even on the fantastic foundation of Doom. The levels are now much, much bigger, more expansive, helped in part by being able to link larger sections of the map to each other through these new movement mechanics. And also, when you get towards the end of a level, you unlock the ability to fast travel to certain spots on the map to make it even smoother to go back and trawl through the level for secrets. And you really want to find all the secrets because the upgrades are fantastic. And this is helped by the introduction of essentially a hub world in between levels. So your Doom guy has I'd never actually worked out if it was a spaceship or a castle. I think both. And it's
Space
in orbit.
Castle.
Yeah, Spartle.
Yes.
And you go back to that. I mean, not quite after every level, depending on like how the story dictates it. But you return there several times throughout the course of the main story. And then in there, you can spend various upgrade points to improve aspects of your arsenal and abilities. You can view all of the unlockables that you've found, like the vinyl soundtracks. They're then mounted framework around on the walls, and then there's like a display of like your bobblehead figures that you've collected. You can read through the lore entries you found. You can go to a training ground. There are secrets to find in your hub as well. And then you can also manage how you replay certain levels when you want to go back and unlock more things. And the later you go in the game, the more tools you'll have at your disposal to help you find all the secrets. So you'll upgrade your map system that will then sort of show various things on the map, and it means that you can revisit a level, and it's very, very quick and easy to see where things are, and then you have the fun of trying to figure out how to get to those things. And another thing is you also unlock in-game cheat codes, so that you can then apply those for when you replay through a level. You can't ever put cheat codes onto a level you're playing like in the main story. But it means that if you want to take some of the pressure off or just enjoy being a stupid one-man army and ripping and tearing through previously, hard bosses and enemies, you can just whack some cheat codes on and just have a great time just playing through the level. And it's how I did it, to go back and find all the secrets and stuff.
Just give the crab a gun.
Basically, give the crab a gun. That's what we've learned now 2 months in a row. But everything in Doom Eternal is gamified. Like, it reminds me of Resident Evil 4 in that respect, which presents a really cool horror story and good action and all of that stuff, but it doesn't ever forget that it's a game and it needs to be fun at every opportune moment. Like, in Doom Eternal, in order to upgrade your guns, you need to fulfill certain objectives, like, I don't know, like, kill X amount of enemies with a certain mode of a weapon. You know, it's not just find 3 more upgrade points. It's all finding the most fun ways of doing things.
Yeah.
And there are always objectives to fulfill, to unlock stuff, forcing you to then experiment and try out just different ways of killing things. And there are like special arenas hidden in certain levels. And hang on. There are certain like mini challenges in certain levels as well. There's always one which will just be like you'll find like a hidden totem or something, and then you'll have to fend off like an array of enemies within like a certain time limit. And that's just fun, just to have like just a quick little arcade burst, in the middle of a level. And then there's also, I think there's 6, it could be 8, I can't remember. But there are these like super special arenas where they'll be really, really hard. And if you beat those, you get a special key, and then you put a key into a lock in your hub world. And if you manage to do all of them, you unlock a super, super secret special weapon, which is basically an alternate mode for the BFG gun. And it's just like, rather than just unlocking that at the end of the game or being given it, it's like, how can we make this fun? How can we make it feel like you've earned this? But how can we make you want to earn this because it's so much fun?
Yeah.
Like, the story is probably never going to be the main draw to a Doom game, but the story in this game is genuinely really, really good. It's developed so many sides of the lore that had just never occurred to me before, and actually sparked then an interest to read more into the overall lore of this universe after I'd finished the game, like thinking about actually how the mythology works of like, is it actually hell? Is it like an afterlife? Is it another planet? Is it another like plane of existence? What, and then how do all these key sort of figures that are sort of threaded through, how does that all work? And it's some really, really interesting and very, very cool stuff. All in all, Doom Eternal was just insanely fun to play. I could not stop playing it until obviously I'd completed the main game, but then gone back and found all of the secrets, unlocked everything, because it was just so goddamn fucking fun. Like, it would 100% be in a revised top 100 games list for me, and almost certainly in the top 50. It is an unbelievably fun game, and I cannot wait to get my hands on the next game. Like, it's so good. It does make me wonder, though, how Bethesda can develop a game that feels this good to play and still make really bland gameplay experiences in stuff like Fallout 4 and Starfield. It's like, did you not talk to each other?
No, I don't know.
It's mad.
It's mad. I suppose it's all just different gangs, isn't it, within the Bethesda banner.
Talk to each other.
Yeah, I mean, they should.
Like, there's even stuff with, like, it's not quite like mech suits like you have in Fallout 4, which just didn't really work for me. But there are some modes where you basically take over, you possess some of these larger sort of hybrid robot demon things, and it's akin to what it's like to sort of jump into the big mech suit in Fallout 4. And I was like, there we go. This feels good. That's how you do it.
I mean, there is form for this stuff, not from Bethesda, but if you think about like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, Nintendo went, we're doing a big open world game. I mean, Monolith Soft are just down the hall, aren't they?
Yeah.
And then they just brought across the Xenoblade team to just help out. And I'm sure that does help out. It's got to support something if you go to people that know what they're doing. So Bethesda, as, whichever part of you is making Elder Scrolls and Starfield nonsense, go and talk to id Software down the hall.